Don't worry kids, Daddy is not leaving CSGO. He just wants to cover some damn updates. This is my second update video for Valorant, and it's for patch 1.11, which will get released very soon. It was actually released a short while, but they had to revert it. As always, I like to focus on the most important bits, and there are a few in this update. Let's start with the changes made to some of the agents. Breach's flash ability has been buffed and will now full blind you for 2 seconds instead. This makes it roughly 18% deadlier in 1.11. Phoenix flash has also been buffed. Can you guys guess how? No, has nothing to do with the timer, it's how flashed you get during the fade out. Notice how you can see much less on 1.11. This next change is pretty much the biggest agent update, which I absolutely love because I hate the guy, but if Cypher dies, the traps will now get disabled. A lot of Cypher mains will definitely be more careful now, and it will change the overall meta for Cyphers. Moving on to Killjoy. When she recalls her turret, a cooldown starts, and with 1.11, it's been cut in half. This allows her to use the ability more often and with more freedom to reposition the turret during the round. Speaking of cooldown, her alarm bot has also received the same treatment, where it's been reduced from 20 to 7. That is a 65% buff. Also, the bar is yellow instead of green, so I suppose that's to indicate to the player that it's been used once already. With those buffs, the target range of her alarm bot and nanoswarm has decreased slightly, but the nanoswarm damage has increased, which is especially noticeable without a shield. The last important change with Killjoy is that there was no limit whatsoever to how far away she could be from her gadgets. They would still work, and this could allow her to place a turret on the opposite side of where she's currently playing. So the alarm bot and turret will now only activate if she's inside the activation range, which is 40 in-game meters. It's a debuff that reminds me a bit of the one for Cypher. Automated solutions in Valorant are going to be less rewarding from now on. Now, I've covered the changes for the agents, but it's time to introduce a new agent to the game. Skye. Skye is a new Radiant agent with hypernatural abilities as a result of the first light event from the Valorant lore. Her abilities are Regrowth, which is AoE healing, Trailblazer, which allows her to control a beast to find and stun enemies, Guiding Light that seeks out enemies and blinds them, and finally Seekers, the ultimate ability, which is pretty much an upgraded version of Guiding Lights, but it's totally automated and can find up to 3 enemies. They're all quite useful, but remember that she's got a healing ability. This actually means that Sage is no longer the only healer. Skye can heal all teammates in the radius, but not herself. This allows for some variety for whoever wants to take that role. Moving on to something that changes the meta completely, economy changes. In CSGO, if Ts run out of time, they get nothing. Valorant is kind of going with the same thing, but instead of 0, you get 1,000 credits, which is 900 less than usual, and if you survive the round of a spike exploding, you also only get 1,000 instead of 1,900. That's a bit sad for defenders, it's not the same in CSGO. Well, at least the spike will no longer count as a death, so that's still something. Now this is a pretty big one for competitors. Icebox, the latest map to the game released around 2 weeks ago, will now be playable in ranked mode. Before that, it was playable on all other game modes. And for even bigger news, you can now choose left-handed. Finally, for some notable bug fixes, Jet could move around like crazy with the rope and dash technique. Now she has to decide if she wants to dash or use the rope. This snowman bug pretty much allowed anyone to get stuck, and even though it wasn't mentioned in the patch notes, it's been fixed. That's pretty much a summary of the update. Like the video if you enjoyed it, stay awesome, and go bananas.